You guys ever heard of the skull of Timur? Timur was he was probably one of the most ruthless conquerors in human history. He assumed the title of Great Khan in 1369. He was a Mongol conqueror.
Oh no!
And he was the one who famously created the Pyramid of Skulls, which in India, which was a structure of 70,000 human skulls that he stacked in this area to. From his own description of it, to do some good with them rather than carry them around. Timur, or more commonly known as Tamerlane.
That rings a bell.
That rings a bell.
He assumed the title of Great Khan in the mid 14th century, and some of the most horrific human suffering is attributed to him, at least during that time period, including the 70,000 human skulls that were stacked in North India, the Pyramid of Skulls.
A fuck ton of skulls.
That's a lot of skulls.
Seems like everybody with a Khan inflicts pain on people. Genghis Khan, the Khan from Star Trek, Shaka Khan, all these people.
Shaka Khan only brought love.
Thank you.
She's a good Khan.
Like you said, most Khans seem to be attributed to a lot of death and a lot of suffering. This guy, it's estimated that he was responsible for around 17 million deaths.
17 million deaths.
That's a good score. That's a good score.
Wow.
That's up there. That's up there.
That's more than like World War I.
Right, and we're talking about pre-mechanized warfare. Like, this was done with knives.
Hack and slash.
I mean? Knives and hammers.
A lot of screaming.
So they made sure those motherfuckers were dead.
Yeah, this is like not a fun man.
You don't know.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe.
I decline your invite for Candy Crush.
Too many skulls to stack.
I've got all these skulls.
So he had your, I guess what you would consider your basic Khan's life, and we could get into I'm sure there was some
hashtag Khan life.
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Choose the Khan life. The Khan life choose me.
So, but like his life aside, what is more interesting, I think, is his death, his tomb. First of all, this man in the 14th century lived to be 68 years old. He died, oddly enough, attempting to conquer China. He conquered a landmass that was equal to the size, approaching equal to the size of when Genghis Khan rose the Mongol Empire to like its heights. He decided he wanted to invade and conquer China, but he decided to plan his invasion during the winter of 1405, whereas previously every what would you call that? Operation there you go. Every conquest previously had been done during the spring, which was like preferable to their war style. They like rode horses. They needed to like clear.
So much nicer.
Right. It's nicer to kill 17 million people in the spring.
It's beautiful. It really is. It's relaxing.
So by doing this, by springing this, see what I just did there? Because it was
springing it in the winter.
By springing this in the winter, he pretty much bucked military trends.
He wrote essentially his own death warrant, attempted to invade a land that he was not prepared to during a season that he was not prepared to handle, and eventually fell ill in one of the coldest winters of 1405 and died at the age of 68 years old. He was buried in Timur's tomb, which is located
on Thursdays.
Now, was that named because of him, or
yes, yeah, they built him like a mausoleum. Yeah, he has like a.
They just found a place called Timur's tomb. We should put this in.
We should put this Timur dude in there.
A tiki bar in the middle of the Gobi Desert.
Timur's tomb.
Timur's tomb.
Open until 3 a.m.
Zombie ever.
Happy hour from 5 to 7.
Yeah, exactly. One guy's got that lazy eye, and he goes, "You got it, boss."
What the hell? All right. So they buried Timur. They put him in this mausoleum and they embalmed him. And the current tomb, or the tomb, is located in current day Uzbekistan. There are two notable inscriptions on this building, actually on the tombstone and then within the actual tomb itself where his remains are. The first one on the tombstone says, When I rise from the dead, the world shall tremble.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Damn.
No doubt.
Which is
Really
like,
cool.
yeah,
How
that's,
about a T-shirt?
that's like
Wherever
standard.
I'm alive.
That's like the fake old timey tough guy thing. Like, I'll come back and you will never. Like Nobunaga did that. Like
You'll
the
be
Japanese-
sorry.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
day.
Nobi did that, bitch.
Who?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Who's that?
So the second strange, spooky inscription is actually located within the tomb, and it says, "Whosoever disturbs my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I."
Oh man, you know that the guy who translated that, the first one is
Which
like,
is like,
oh
fuck,
shit,
Shuts the coffin, slams the coffin lid shut. God damn it.
redo.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
The first guy just never
Yeah,
mind.
it's like a Christmas Story. He's got his little orphan Annie
Right.
Dakota Ray. He's like, Ovaltine, no!
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine is inscribed on the inside of Timur's tomb.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
That's just the beginning of Timur's curse. The actual manifestation of the curse happened during Joseph Stalin's reign. Joseph Stalin ordered famous anthropologist Mikhail Gerasimov. And in 1941, he asked him to go into Timur's tomb and open it. And the reason for this was that this man had, a few years earlier, reconstructed a face from a skull that they had found of like some ancient person. And they wanted him to do the same thing with Timur's skull. So 1942, in June, they successfully opened it. They noted a strong scent of camphor, resin, rose, and frankincense as soon as they opened the tomb. And
It's a really complex series of scents to say.
Yeah,
you know, just like to be able to pick them all out, you know.
camphor, resin.
Smells like hippies in here.
It's like, it smells like a
Yeah,
dead
that's probably what it was. They
It
were,
smells like a jam band has been playing.
The one guy just goes, "So potpourri? You mean potpourri?"
smells good. Smells good. Flowery and like potpourri.
Smells like a posh person's bathroom.
Boom.
So the tomb was open on June 20th, 1942. 2 days later, the Nazis invaded Russia without a formal declaration of war. The operation was known as Operation Barbarossa. And it is worth noting, and I'm quoting again from the article, that 3 of the elders from the villages that were surrounding the area warned Gerasimov, the anthropologist, that he shouldn't mess with the tomb. Something was going to happen. They had read the inscriptions. They knew that they were worried that something was going to happen. Okay. They told, and interestingly enough, the 3 elders also told the anthropologist that this effect the curse would take effect after 3 days. So essentially, 2 days and a couple hours, within that time, they were correct in that this surprise attack from the Nazis happened.
That's crazy.
And
Whoa.
this was the famous attempt from Hitler to invade Russia, where the Russians essentially killed and burned all their own stuff. And
So bad shit happened.
yes, extremely bad shit happened to both sides. But you could argue that a ruler more terrible than Timur had
Invaded.
had arisen
yeah,
after
for sure.
this. So to cap it off with the final sort of spooky cherry on top, after a few months, Stalin believed the curse, believed the men, and said, "Bring the skull back to the tomb. We fucked up."
No
And
way. Are you kidding me?
yeah,
That's awesome.
he bought into the superstition, and he ordered that the remains of Timur be returned to the tomb, and the process be done with full Islamic burial rites. And
Wow.
they returned the remains to the tomb in 1942, and about a month later, the Nazis surrendered, and Stalin won the Battle of Stalingrad.
That's fucking amazing.
So seemingly, the curse was also able to be stopped or shunted in some way.
Yeah. Also, it's fascinating that the very next day is when Hitler invaded Russia, right?
So the curse said it should take place within 3 days. It happened 2 days later.
Okay. So and then
Damn.
when the skull was put back into its proper burial place.
Within a month, it was
Within
over.
a month, so that think of this large cancer invading this body,
Crazy.
and it took 30 days to kind of beat it back with antibodies. Like, wow, that's
Spiritual
really
curse cancer.
yeah, it's like a spiritual evil curse.
Spiritual antibiotics.
The thing I can't get over is a curse saying that if you remove my skull, terror will become upon you. within like 3 or 4 days, give or take. I mean, I can't do this immediately. I got
Approximate.
a lot of things to organize. So within like 3 days, totally coming for you.
Right.
Like an Uber driver of curses, where
Yeah, but no,
you look
the
at
curse is like
he's
a
like,
block
oh,
away.
no, the locust will be here.
Well, you showed up a little early, right? So like
3:16.
traffic was good.
Right.
It could have accidentally made the wrong turn. It would have taken 4 days, but
4 to 5 would plague again.